Hello, and welcome back to our Awakening Intuition video series, where we pull oracle cards twice a month from my oracle decks, Awakening Intuition and Grief, Grace, and Healing. So today we'll be pulling cards for the first half of June 2024, and we're looking for some invitations to help us all work with our self-care, self-love, and our mindfulness practices for the first 2 weeks of June. So my name is Tanya Carol Richardson. I'm a professional intuitive, and I have done thousands of readings with clients all over the world. I'm also an author of 9 nonfiction books, these 2 oracle decks, and a yearly self-love calendar. Another fun thing we're going to do today, if you wait to the very end of the video, is we are going to do a synchronicity flip from my book, Love Notes to Myself. This is my self-love book. And we kind of discovered that last time. We did our first synchronicity flip where we asked for a special message from a book, and then we flip to a page that might seem random, but it's actually a synchronicity and a special sign. So if you stay to the end of the video, I'll show you all how to do that. The first thing we usually do at the beginning of each video is we are going to ask you to use your intuition to find a card in this video that will really resonate for you. So we are going to pull 3 cards from my oracle decks. And right now is a great time to pause the video if you need to and ask your intuition to give you a number 1, 2, or 3. So that number that your intuition gives you right now, 1, 2, or 3, might really be the card that resonates most for you for the first 2 weeks of June. And there are a couple ways that your intuition might give you that special number or special card for you. So you might hear a number in your mind, like hearing the number 1. That is the psychic pathway clairaudience. You might also see a number in your mind, like seeing a visual image of the number 2 in your mind. That is the psychic pathway of clairvoyance. You also could just feel really pulled to one of the numbers as I say them, 1, 2, or 3. For example, that number 3, you might just think, ooh, I get angel bumps all over, the energy around me gets heavy, I get really pulled to that number 3. That's your feeling psychic pathway clairsentience. So take just a moment now and pick one of those numbers, 1, 2, or 3, and really what I'm asking the cards as we pull cards is I'm asking the cards and the angels and guides and all the benevolent forces to give us some cards that will really help us navigate the first 2 weeks of June. And as I talk through this video, pay attention to your own internal intuitive system, because something I say, or one card in particular, or even one line from a card that I read might really ping with your intuitive system as something important for you. So take your time, relax, and as I go through the video, notice what really sticks out for you while I'm talking, and even days after when you think back to the video. So now we'll go to do our recap of the last video, which was for the last 2 weeks of May. I almost said April because this year seems to be moving very quickly. So our last video was for the last 2 weeks of May, and 2 of the cards that really stuck out for me, or actually it was one card and then our synchronicity flip, was the card from Awakening Intuition that was about decluttering your mind schedule or your physical space. So I actually had a chance in the last 2 weeks of May to take a full week off from doing private intuitive readings with people, which I absolutely love to do, but it's always nice to take a break and give yourself a little staycation. So I was able to do that. That was a way to declutter my schedule and also just, let the energy open up and breathe. For some people watching this video in the last 2 weeks of May, we kept getting the message from the universe that there were some people that might even be decluttering or letting go of things or getting things in order to make room and make space because something really big or really new was wanting to come in. So that was kind of a preparatory step you were doing. The other message for the last 2 weeks of May that as May went on really resonated for me was the message we got from Love Notes to Myself, the synchronicity flip, that was about a golden opportunity that would come into our lives for some people in the second half of May. And it might even be an opportunity that allowed you to do something differently than you'd done in the past and show up in an even healthier, wiser, more loving way to a situation. So that happened to me in a couple ways. I did get the beginnings of a business opportunity start to form with some friends and colleagues of mine that we're going to be working on. So that really felt like a golden opportunity that came in the last 2 weeks of May. And I also, and this is another way this might have shown up for you if this resonates, I was able to show up to something in my personal life in a way that was gentler, more compassionate, and made a better experience for me and everyone involved. So it was kind of a second chance or a redo of something from the past that was really gentle and lovely. So those are the messages that resonated for me the last half of May. I hope some of those messages were really helpful for you navigating the last 2 weeks of May. And now we'll turn our full intuitive intention to the first 2 weeks of June, and we'll begin pulling some cards from Awakening Intuition, which can be people's favorite part of the video when I pull cards. So my Oracle deck, Awakening Intuition, thank you to everyone who has made this deck a bestseller. It has become so popular. I'm so grateful for that. Grateful these messages are getting out there to people. And it's become so popular that we, and when I say we, it's myself and the publisher, actually ran through the first print run of this deck way before they anticipated. So if you go to Amazon right now, where this deck has been a really popular seller, you cannot get it temporarily just through Amazon. You'll have to go through one of their third-party sellers there. So the reprint is already underway, and we're just waiting for the second edition, which will be the same deck, but it just needed a reprint because, like I said, we ran through the first copies quicker than anyone anticipated at the publisher. So I will keep everyone posted in these videos and on my social media when those are back in stock in Amazon. In the meantime, I checked this morning, and you can still get copies of this deck, Awakening Intuition, via bookshop.org. That's a great website that supports local bookstores, and also Barnes & Noble. I love Barnes & Noble and love to support them. So those are two websites you can go to get this deck if you haven't gotten it already. So, I always encourage you, as you know, to use your own pull method. Whatever works for you is the right way to pull cards. And I'm going to show you one of my favorite pull methods in this video. And the first thing we're going to do is just warm the cards up with our palm chakras here, hold them for a moment, and set the intention that we are looking for 2 cards from this deck that will really help people watching this video navigate the first 2 weeks of June. Okay, so here we go, looking for cards for the first 2 weeks of June. And now what you're going to see is, as I'm shuffling, you're going to see, you might see some different cards pop around or flip up and down. What I'm looking for is a card that really sticks up, gets my attention, and just kind of holds there. That lets me know that that's the card that really wants to be chosen. So here we go, and we are starting to shuffle. And again, we're looking for a card that is really going to pop up and get our attention. And there we go. So we've got a card that's hanging there. It's just one single card. It's sticking up above the others, and it really stuck the landing and held there for me. Ooh, that is such a fun card to talk about for sensitive people. I'm glad we pulled that card. And now we're going to look for a second card for the first 2 weeks of June. Again, we're looking for a card to really jump out and stick the landing and let us know that it wants to be picked. So that would really jumped out. Again, it's a single card, and it did kind of a fun thing where it jumped way out and then also hung to the side, which is really fun. So boy, this card wants to be picked. Love that. So those are our 2 cards from Awakening Intuition. Now we're going to do a slightly different pull method from Grief, Grace, and Healing. This is a really special deck I just like to quickly explain. It is a deck that I created to help people who are grieving any kind of loss in their life. It could be something that just happened. It could be something from the very distant past that where the grief is coming up again for you to process and look at and experience even more healing around. This could be the loss of a loved one. It could be the loss of a relationship. It could be the loss of a job. It could just be, something where your body has changed. It could also be a sense of a significant change and transition that you're in the midst of, that it might even ultimately be positive, but in the moment it's very difficult and you are grieving something that is leaving your life. So we'll get those cards out. It's also a really lovely soft energy deck. So anytime you kind of really need just some gentle energy, some softness, and also encouraging, this is a lovely deck to pull from. So I'm still going to warm it up with my palm chakras and ask that we get a message for the first 2 weeks of June. And I heard just now we're looking for a healing message. So we are this is a deck, Grief, Grace, and Healing, and we're really wanting to, whatever card we pull, look at this through a healing framing of that card. So here we go. And we're just going to let the deck fall open where it wants to fall. And that is how we're going to pick a card from this deck. That's another way you can always do that. This is so fun. I love this card and I love thinking of it through a healing lens, that I'm really glad that I was told that. And this actually is from the healing suit. So that's nice. Okie dokie. And then at the end of the video, we will do our synchronicity flip to get a message for everybody for the first 2 weeks of June. So this is a moment in the video to connect with your intuition again. And if you haven't already, pick that card 1, 2, or 3 that your intuition is telling you might ultimately be really helpful for you in the first 2 weeks of June. Card number 1, card number 2, card number 3. So if you picked card number 1, you picked, I wanted to say one of my favorite cards from this deck, but they're all my favorites, but I really do love this card. It is called Avoid Numbing Out. And I'll read it to you. You may be overwhelmed or overstimulated lately or stressed out and emotional, causing you to feel drained or anxious. Instead of numbing out and checking out with shopping, binge watching, or alcohol, employ more engaging, healthy ways of helping your sensitive nervous system catch a break. Don't numb out to your sixth sense. Okay, so this is a really important card for sensitive people. As some of you know, most of the clients who are drawn to me for intuitive readings are sensitive people. I have 3 books about being sensitive, 2 books about empaths, people who can feel the energy and emotions of other people, the collective in their own system as if they were their own energy and emotions. Those are called Empath Heart and Self-Care for Empaths. And I also have another book about sensitivity called Are You an Earth Angel? That it's for people who have that empathic sensitivity, and they might even also identify as a highly sensitive person, someone who's really sensitive to physical stimuli and very aware of what's going on in their environment. So sometimes when sensitive people can just feel like it's all too much, things going on in the world, things going on in their personal life, things going on in their career, whatever's going on, it feels like it's too much. They can numb out as a way to kind of protect themselves. So there are better options for you. And some of those ways that people can typically numb out is binge watching or, overdoing anything, overdoing shopping, overdoing your alcohol consumption, things that maybe when they're done in moderation can be really nourishing and helpful. But when you go over the top with it as a way to protect and numb out, the problem with numbing out is you're not really letting any of the helpful stuff into your system, right? So you're just totally protecting, totally numbing out because it's all too much. I'm overwhelmed, I'm overstimulated. But when that happens and there's just a wall up, you're not letting any of the nourishing things in. Particularly, I heard any synchronicities or helpful signs from the universe that are coming from your own intuitive system or from your higher self, from your angels and guides. So if this card resonated for you, I would say whenever I give workshops, either online or in person, this concept of numbing out resonates so strongly with sensitive people. So remember, if you are feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated, retreat and recover. Pull back a bit. Concentrate on your self-care. It's okay to say, hey, it's all too much. I need to pull back on my social engagements, or I need to find somebody to help with work or somebody to help with chores. I just really need to get some healthy alone time, some downtime. But try and do things that are quiet and gentle, but also engaging, that help you stay present, like getting lost in a great creative hobby, or getting lost in a great story, a great book or novel that's very connecting, that where characters really resonate with you, where they teach you lessons, where you feel really engaged with it as opposed to numbed out by it. And especially what you're wanting to do is catch a break, retreat and recover so that you can still stay mindful and present. Because often when we are really overwhelmed or overstimulated and life just feels like too much, your guidance squad will be trying to give you messages through your own intuitive system. You don't want to numb out to that. And it will also try and give you messages through synchronicities and signs around you. So you want to stay present, open, and aware. So if number one was the card you picked, or as I talk about this concept, it's really resonating with you right now, just be honest with yourself. I've been numbing out. It's okay. It's not bad. It's a coping mechanism, but I might be able to find some other ways. Even I heard taking a walk in nature, having a really gentle heart-to-heart with a friend in a calm, quiet, lovely coffee shop or bookstore. When you're overwhelmed and overstimulated, you want to take the stimulation down. You want to make everything in your environment gentle and soft where you can. Avoid unnecessary drama. But remember, you're wanting to stay present, engaged, and open, because I just heard the universe is knocking on your door if number one card resonated with you and your intuition. And the universe is trying to send you some helpful messages to help you navigate this time and this sense of overwhelm. I just heard there's a lot of that going around. So if you picked card number one or this resonates with you, you're in very good company. So, and if you're really interested in this topic, either of my books, Self-Care for Empaths or Empath Heart, goes a lot into this topic and coping mechanisms for you during these seasons of life when maybe the whole world can feel a little overstimulating and overwhelming, or just you're going through a time like that in your life. So I'm really glad we talked about that. And now we're going to go to card number two. If you pick that with your intuition, this is the card that really waved out to the side to us and wanted to get our attention. And we've pulled this card in the recent past too. It is Learn About Clairaudience. So I'll read this card to you. Hearing helpful words and full sentences is the rarest psychic pathway. A wise, gentle voice speaking in your head is different than an intuitive thought or your own inner dialogue. Don't experience clairaudience? Listen to what others say, even lines from movies or overheard in the grocery aisle that may be divine guidance. So as some of you know who have this deck, Awakening Intuition, or who have read my book on intuition, Angel Intuition, I'm very passionate about teaching about intuition, and especially the four main psychic pathways. Those are clairaudience, hearing a voice in your mind that gives you guidance; clairvoyance, seeing images in your mind that give you guidance; claircognizance, where you get breakthrough thoughts and epiphanies and ideas as intuitive guidance; and then clairsentience, where you really feel things as intuitive guidance. You feel the energies and emotions of others, or you might even feel into an opportunity. Oh, this is a good opportunity for me. So those are the four main psychic pathways, and in my opinion, clairaudience is the rarest. So I do have all four psychic pathways open, and I'm using them in these videos and my sessions with clients. You do not have to have all four psychic pathways open to have a wonderful intuition and a great relationship with it. But one thing I'm hearing right now with my clairaudience in my mind, that gentle voice that gives me guidance, is that we're going through a time where sensitivity and intuition is awakening more strongly in more people. So remember that the 4 psychic pathways, this isn't something that's static. So they can open up at different times for people in their lives. For example, clairaudience opened up for me when I was in my late 20s, which was 20 years ago now, over 20 years ago. So, these psychic pathways can open, they can blossom, and they can even increase at different times. So some people watching this video might always have had the capacity for clairaudience, and it's just opening up. Again, you can go to my book, Angel Intuition, to learn more about clairaudience, or go to the guidebook of this deck to learn more about it. And I do have some free articles online about it. You can Google that. But for other people who chose card number 2 and they're saying, well, Tanya, I don't hear a gentle voice in my mind giving me intuitive guidance. As the card said, listen to words that are being spoken around you that could be synchronicities and intuitive guidance meant for you. It could be something overheard in a line at a store. It could be something where you are having a heart-to-heart talk with a friend and they say one thing that's just like, oh my gosh, they didn't even mean that as wise advice, but that's exactly what I needed to hear. What I'm hearing clairaudiently is I think we're all going to be getting a lot of good guidance for how to navigate the first 2 weeks of June and beyond as synchronicities, as signs, as words of wisdom that happen outside of us that are external. But when we hear this in a song, in a movie, in an audiobook, through a friend, through an overheard conversation, on a video, we'll get a ping that like, wow, those words were meant really for me. That goes straight to my heart. I know that is something that the universe sent just for me. It's a special sign for me. So listen to those words going on around you, because whether their gentle voice in your mind is clairaudience or external, we're going to be getting some good signs and synchronicities and guidance that way. The third card, if you pick number 3, and it was so fun because remember, I heard this should be a healing message. It's from the healing suit of this deck. And I love thinking of this as a way to engage with healing. Step out of your comfort zone. If you chose card number 3, you chose step out of your comfort zone. I'll read it to you. Stretching yourself or taking a healthy risk is part of your healing process now. Baby steps create momentum. Make change more manageable by seeking support and being encouraging and gentle with yourself. Don't view success as either or, win-lose. Any effort counts as progress to be celebrated. Give yourself the gift of new experiences. That one really resonates for me as I'm reading it. And I think if that card resonated for you, just pause the video, go back and listen to me reading it. Because I think this is kind of a straightforward message for the people who chose card number 3, or if it's just resonating for you, that remember, part of a healing process is stepping out of your comfort zone. So you'll know how this lands for you in your life right now. And remember, just as the card said, sometimes when we are feeling a little bit frozen, like in our fight, flight, or freeze, and we're nervous to step out of our comfort zone, or it's something brand new, get emotional support, get expert support, and don't be afraid to take those baby steps. I'm hearing it could be for the first 2 weeks of June, some time for people to experiment. So be playful about the adventure if you can, take baby steps and get support. So now we are going to do our synchronicity flip, which is so exciting, from my self-love book, Love Notes to Myself. And we're going to, I just wanted to remind you, you can do this with any book in your house, any of my books, a novel you like, a great nonfiction book you like. Anytime you're just a little confused or have an intuitive question for the universe, and you're wanting some quick guidance, try this and see if it works for you, if it resonates. But I love doing this. It's best to do it when you're feeling really calm and a little bit surrendered. There's not too much skin in the game for you, and you're just like, yeah, let me get some guidance on this issue. So right now we are asking for guidance for the first 2 weeks of June. Again, we're holding the book between our palm chakras and warming it up, asking for a helpful message that will resonate with everyone. No matter what card you picked with your intuition ahead of time, This is a card. This is a message for everybody. And I'm going to flip it. And wherever I stop is our message. Okay. Ooh, this is so amazing because it really fits in with card number 3, step out of your comfort zone. The message I flipped to is, and I was told to look at the left-hand side of the book because there's little messages on each page. The message is, I can't grow and improve without making mistakes. When I try to be perfect, it cuts me off from healthy evolution. Stepping out of your comfort zone, good thing to remember. I'll read it again. I can't grow and improve without making mistakes. When I try to be perfect, it cuts me off from healthy evolution. And I'll just quickly read you this message, this passage from the book. Did someone once try to convince me that I needed to be perfect? They were mistaken. Fabulously flawsome, awesome in spite of, and sometimes because of, my flaws is more my style. Whenever I notice one of my quirks or imperfections, I'll remember that they are what make me interesting. If I find myself fixating on the imperfection of a single tile, I can step back to take in the fabulously flawsome mosaic that is my life. Let's face it, I'm pretty awesome. So that is from my self-love book. It's got little messages. You can read one a day or flip to it as I just did. And I think what the obvious message here is that some people are really meant to, in safe, manageable ways, step out of their comfort zone. And it's okay. It's okay if it doesn't look perfect because perfect doesn't exist. So don't cut yourself off from healthy evolution by thinking that you have to do everything perfectly, which again doesn't exist. We're looking for flawsome, fabulous because of and in spite of our flaws. And when I look at these 3 cards together, just a reminder, avoid numbing out. Stay present and open so that you can get messages from your own intuitive system and from the universe in the first half of June. Learn about clairaudience. You might be going through a sensitivity growth spurt where your intuition is increasing, or you might just hear, again, signs and synchronicities through words that are happening externally that apply directly to you. Step outside of your comfort zone. I just heard, don't be afraid to do that. For some people watching this video, it's time. I just heard it's time to step out of your comfort zone. So thank you so much for being here for our Awakening Intuition video series. I really enjoy doing these videos. And so thank you for being here, and you can like the video or subscribe to the channel to help it grow. If you're interested in getting any of my decks or books or calendar, you can find links below the video to do that. And if you're interested in doing a private one-on-one intuitive session with me, they are probably my favorite thing to do in life. So you can find a link below to how to book that and find out more about doing that with me. Thank you so much for being here. I am sending you so much love and strength and courage. And just because we got that step out of your comfort zone message, and I will see you back here for another video, and we will pull cards for the second half of June. Until then, I'm sending you so much love and so much support from all your angels and guides.